do something wrong? Or was it maybe something I said? I'm going crazy thinking about it.
Didn't do anything.
Say you're sorry, darling. Say it's all your fault. Say you miss me and you wish that you answered my calls. Say you're not done falling. Say our love is hard. Say you're waiting for me, that you wanna press restart.
All right, here we go. We're doing it again. We are doing, since I'm on my annual or my bi-monthly crazy ass sleep schedule, I'm trying to move myself around to a normal person again because I got so far off that I can't function and everything happens while I'm asleep. We are recording this on a different day than normal. I will probably still put it up on Sunday to keep, schedule and everything. But I just wanted the people to know. For some reason, as if that would matter whatsoever. I guess in case something really important happens Friday or Saturday, and they'll be like, why didn't they talk about it? And it'll be like, because we recorded this on a Thursday night. So yes, here we are once again. Boys, say hello to the people.
What's up?
All right, good. Yes, the cult has been established.
Oh.
Crazy son.
I guess if everybody's doing good, we will just, people, let's see. I gotta make sure I do the right thing. Like the video. Even if you don't like it, I don't care. Click the like button. Help somebody out. Subscribe if you even remotely like it. What else are people supposed to do? Comment. Tell us what we could change. What you would like to see. If you think our voices are annoying. Whatever. I don't care. Just comment something. Something that would help us grow the podcast.
I would actually like to see some of the answers, the prompts that we answer at the end. I'd like to see some of them answer those as well.
Too. I agree. Like, use our comment section as a community chat thing. That's fine. I would love engagement that was like that I could engage back with, and that other people could actually engage with. It'd be wonderful. But alas, that's where we're at. Oh, and I guess I should, let's see, Monte Cristo, I think this is a classic. Yes, classic series. That's what I'm smoking today. All right, now that we've got the important things out of the way, we can begin and I'll make you guys click the screen for sharing again, because are
we going back to this way? I thought you asked the prompts first. No.
Oh yeah, I was going. Oh yeah, you know what?
What
you guys want to do prompt first?
I don't care.
Up to you.
Whatever you feel like.
Your format. I thought that's how you were doing it.
Yeah, it's because last time we spent an hour and a half talking about the entirety of every element of the education system. So I probably should. You know what? People, ignore that I put this up. We will ask prompts first. And then I'll go full screen. There.
That's why I'm here, to keep us.
Yep. No, you're right.
Excellent.
You're right. I'm glad you remember, because I would have just fallen back into old habits. All right, so the first question. What is the most sacred thing about you? Which I think has some avenues. The way this works is I ask the prompt, and then one of you two answer the prompt. I just wanted to make sure.
Is that how this works?
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you mean by sacred? What do we mean by sacred?
I leave that. That's where I think some of the variation can come from.
Okay.
That I leave the question is just, what is the most sacred thing about you? You might want to explain what you like if you're like, okay,
yeah,
this is what I'm meaning when I say this, but it's open-ended.
So when I think about sacred, I think about what do you have at your core that you do not want to change ever? Not that can't change, just that you don't want changed.
Yeah.
That's the best I got.
I'm inclined to agree with that definition. That sounds reasonable to me. Although I can't help but wonder if there's some element of like what God would love about
That's what I was
you,
going to
if
say.
that makes
When I
sense,
think of
right?
sacred, I think almost religious. Like, not that
do
it's a
too.
want. It's like you don't change it because you shouldn't change it. Again, you can always do something that's unsacred, right? Like that's. It's not that you can't do something different, but it's like this is cherished and it has an intrinsic spiritual value. I guess that's how I perceive the word.
And maybe therein lies the quandary. Is it cherished by you or cherished by God, right? Like which one makes it sacred? And I don't know. I
I think that
happen to think that almost every good thing that would be cherished by God should also be cherished by us, right? Like they naturally fit together. So maybe we don't need an answer to it, but I think there's at least a question.
yeah.
Um, Evil, do you want to go first? Shall I go first? A sacred
Oh, I
thing
was
about
just
you?
thinking about though, but like, what kind of headspace do you have to be in to just absolutely refuse to cherish something that God cherishes for you? Like something that
Yeah, that's
ultimately makes you better as a person, as your identity, and you loathe every aspect of it. Like how,
yeah.
ooh,
I think it would just change what they think is safe. Like, I feel like people who would have that mentality simply they would be their own god, or they would be like it's you know what I mean. Like, so it would still be sacred, but then it's just they are the source of what makes it sacred.
Yeah.
And so let's say they would think of God as a fictitious or an outside source, and they are the final authority of all things, and so it would just change where something would still be sacred, like that they would cherish and blah blah blah, but it was just they would change where the source of the sacredness comes from.
like what a pitiful existence though. Like if you are the master of your own universe, and like there's just so much that we are wholly incapable of doing as singular people. It's just
Well, it's not just saying. I just as
such a
humans,
small,
I think as
just a
humans we
small.
are incapable of so much. Now, here's the thing. I think we are capable of. I think we were created to be able to do a lot, but
Yeah,
I also think we were created
not on our own.
to also be. Yes, to have lacking sides of us, so that we would understand we are creations. That means we are not perfected beings, and
Yeah.
so I yes, I if you look at human history, it's always hard for me to think of anybody who actually knows human history and comes away with the idea that like humanity is the best that a universe could produce, like as an entity, right? Like there's no
Yeah.
greater entity than like humanity. I'm like, how do you look at how humans act and come away with like, even after we've evolved?
I mean,
So think about how far we've come since cavemen to where we are now, and we're still just super dumb, super self-centered, super narcissistic. You know, like we're still so extreme. We have not evolved out of all these like society and world-ending negative traits. It doesn't matter how many AI robots we build. There's still like this built-in fallen. I mean, I think like the older I get, the more I'm like, man, the scripture when it talks about like fallen nature, it just like yeah, that rings so true. Like it's such a like almost what's the word I'm looking for? But you just see it and it's natural. You just like, oh yeah, of course that's the case.
Yeah.
The further I get from like, no, it's possible. You know, there's always that argument like, are people just inherently good or inherently evil? And I'm like, I think the potential for both is there, but I do think that mankind does tend to, without renewal or without like forcing themselves to lean towards the good, they fall towards the bad, towards the self-centered, the narcissistic. You know, we fall into, you know, the original sin, right? Like pride.
I mean, it's a rough part of our condition as humans that we experience things only through one lens that is ours, and it
Yeah.
takes some brain work to experience from other things.
That's
It's like
true.
I do think it's perhaps more natural to be self-centered and self-focused, which sort of sets us up for failure. If you know, if we're being honest, you know, it's we're starting at a deficit. Yeah. Okay, I guess I'll
Yeah, now to
I'll
answer the
launch us
question.
into, you know, now that we've gone super theological. I think the most sacred thing about me, and I don't know, there's a question in my mind about it because part of what makes it seem sacred to me is that I find it to be very uncommon and you know, very, very rare. But I wonder if it was more common, would I think it was as sacred? I don't think so. But due to the vast rarity of the trait, I think my willingness to jump headfirst into an uncomfortable situation or discomfort um, for the pursuit of a better situation for the people involved in that discomfort, I think that is sacred, right? Like, I will absolutely tackle any social discomfort, any weird, any rough, any bad. I'll go no problem. It's not even a consideration in my mind if I would or wouldn't. I would do it for the sake of everyone involved.
Yeah.
I think that's probably, if I have to pick one thing that is most sacred about me, that's the one, I think.
That's interesting. Okay. I like that.
Such a small difference changes it from something psychotic to something selfless. Because adding
Because
that for the sake of others at the end, it's like that really changes.
because
the
it
tempo
is
of
it's not. I mean, it's for the sake of everybody. And I can't deny that I benefit from it. You know, that is true.
Yeah.
But so too, I hope, do the other people in the situation. You know, and that is significantly valuable to me.
How many people do you think do the same kind of actions but don't do it for the sake of others?
Well, that's what I was going to ask
For the
that
sake of
question,
growth.
even in a slightly different. So I, by the way, agree with you. I think it's a very valuable trait, something you do that's wonderful, very good. But I do wonder if because it's a very thin line before you cross over to the like. Do you think sometimes it may cross over, but it's like, since you, in your mind, you're always
I do think about it, right? You know, I don't know if I've told the story on the podcast, so I will. I was out my first year teaching with a bunch of the other teachers. We were at a rooftop bar, right? And my coworker brought her husband, and her husband was a Navy guy, right? He was cool, right? He was buying drinks for the guys, right? He was chatting with people. He was the only other guy there to have nipple piercings, but besides me, I loved it. Dude
I was going to make a joke about the
legit.
Navy
I
being
liked
gay,
him.
so that we're okay. Go ahead.
There you go, by all means, right? But as the night went on, some people went home. It ended up being me, my gym buddy, him, and 3 of the female teachers, right? And he went down to pee or something like that, and he came back with a guy named Tall Paul, right? And this guy was like 6'4", 6'5". He was not particularly muscular, but he was just a large, imposing dude, right? And I think he, being in the Navy, I think he had in his mind, we guys, we are the boys. You know, we
Yeah.
are together. And Tall Paul, he's one of the guys. You know, we're looking out for each other here because we're the boys. And I think he thought the girls are prey. You know, they're there to be. You know, we got 3 single women here. They're here to be, you know, picked up, right? That's what he was going for.
Prey might be a bit of a rough word because that almost makes it sound like rape or, you know, like.
Of course,
I know what you mean.
that,
I know what you
right?
mean, though. You mean like they are
Yeah.
to be pursued. Yeah. I get you.
Pursued,
Yeah,
something like that. Yes, strived for.
Uh-huh.
And so he brought up Tall Paul. Tall Paul happened to have a wedding ring on, right? And immediately, one of the female teachers starts flirting with Tall Paul, and I sort of clock it, and I give her a look, right? Like I said, I don't hesitate for a second. I gave her a look, and she said, "Well, what's wrong, Hunter? I respect the ring, right?" And I said, "Do you?" Right? Because doesn't seem like it, right? You're asking some real, you know, the first thing you asked him was, "Where's the wife? Where's the missus?" Right? Why is that the first thing you go for, right? Because you're thinking about it, right? And eventually, I was like, I'm uncomfortable. I walked away from the table. afterwards, one of the other teachers came by and said, as soon as you left, they all started talking about their boobs, right? All three of them just started talking about their boobs with Tall Paul, right? And I often wonder, did I do that genuinely for the sake of Kim, the other teacher, or did I do that to feel righteous? You know what I mean? And I don't really know.
I think that's the answer. Yeah.
I don't know, but I hope that I intended it for good.
I think we all do that, right? Like, I think there's a lot of stuff that's like, I hope that the reason I am doing a thing that I believe is moral is for the moral reason, not for the self-righteous or so I can get out this emotion, right? It's like, it's kind of like if you explain a biblical belief to somebody that may not be socially popular, but you do it through love and because you want them to be like, listen, I just want you to have this information so you can make an informed opinion. That's a good thing. But if you do it because you just want to, I am better than you, or you want to feel a sense of moral superiority, then it's the wrong thing to do. And it's like, I think throughout life we're always going to have that like dichotomy.
You're absolutely right. What makes me think, and you know, feel free to call cope and bullshit, but what makes me think I did it for the right reason, is that I have experience thinking I respect the ring, right? I respect that. And I was not entirely right about that, right? And I feel like when other people, you know, when she said, I respect the ring, it almost tweaked a part of my brain that's like, do you? Right? Like you don't know. You don't understand, you know?
I do question, like, how people do that, where they're like, no, I'm not going to actually date, but then it's almost like flirting with somebody is acceptable if they're, and I'm like, no, that's still, you should not be flirting with it. You should not be providing the temptation or providing the emotional, like, because it makes going back to possibly, what if he's having a fight with his wife at home? It would make it harder to go back to that and have the same desire to make that work if you're starting to think, all these women just, you know, I could go out and get a woman who does like me, and, you know, it just makes the whole scenario more complicated for a marriage. It makes it less likely to work out long term. Yeah. And it's like, I don't think flirtation is okay. You know, like if it's with a married person. Obviously with single people, go for it. But, you know, it's like, even that I think is too much. Just because you didn't cross into physical,
I agree.
You know, molestation doesn't mean that you're not breaking that kind of sacred, but
anyway,
I agree.
there's I think my most sacred attribute.
There's a very good one. I like that.
So I'm actually going to cop out here, and I don't believe that there is anything sacred about the person. And honestly, the more I kept thinking about it, it's such a paradoxical thing. Like, we're actually told to praise and point out and help build up others on the things that you see from others that are righteous. And if you, like, Isaiah 64 and 65 is like all about, you know, all kinds of like righteousness and don't get above yourself and realize that, you know, our righteous deeds are like cleaning with a filthy rag. I mean, I think that's a paraphrase, but that's in essence what it is. But that's for yourself, I think. And I think that for you to recognize and see, you know, hey, I just watched Hunter step away from a potentially awkward situation, call it out publicly, I need to praise him for that. But if it was for me, it's like, I don't need to look for that praise. I need to look for the right situation to be in. So I think that you're viewing your own sacredness is kind of, it's almost like a taboo for me. Like I like certain traits about myself, but ironically, the best version of myself is none of me and all of him.
I get what you're saying. I guess, yes. I would like to, so I'm trying to work out how I would go about this, but I both agree. And so I will probably approach this question in the sense that I think Placebo did, in that, like, I'm going to say this is the trait that I'm most happy with, but not that I believe it is maybe the whole, because like even he admitted, like, I don't know, sometimes I may do it for the wrong reason, maybe do it for the right reason. So it's like, it's kind of like I will probably treat this question with the spirit with which it was asked, but not, because I agree with you. I mean, like even Paul said, like, I'm the least of the saints, even though he wrote, like, you know, the majority of the New Testament and started like letters. He's basically the father of like modern Christianity, right? Like he's the one that went into the non-Jew countries and started stuff.
So before we jump into yours, preacher, right? Like I'm confused about Kevin's. I wanna ask him something, right? Like
go for it.
Like God made you, man. You know, like God crafted you as you are, and you think that there's nothing sacred about you. You know, there's nothing within you that is.
The most sacred thing about me is I can fill myself with Him, and that's it. I'm sure I've got my own individual traits, and there's plenty of good and bad with that. But like there's.
So why did He make you?
Righteousness. Right? Why did He make anyone? Like
that's exactly my point, right? Because we are unique, because we have elements in us.
I was about to use the word element. I think that's getting towards what we're actually looking for here. I agree with Placido. You're making me flip flop, and I don't like it. So I do think. So right here's how humans work, right? God created Adam and Eve, almost like in a perfected state, right? They were sacred, but then they fell. And so the concept is all humanity and nature itself has been fallen until it gets redeemed, correct? So within humans, we have both. We do have, because God did place certain elements in us. And so anything God placed in would, by nature, by definition, have to be sacred. But since we are humans, sometimes we have tainted sides of it, if that makes sense. Like, let's take sex. Sex is sacred, but sex in incorrect environments, in incorrect context, is the opposite of sacred, right? It can be sinful. It can be dirty, perverted, whatever. It can be harmful. Let's just use harmful instead of sinful, since that makes it a little easier. And I think that's the same thing with everything. It's like, there is the element there that if done with proper, like, spiritual guidance, there is something there that God placed. And I think if it's a nugget of God, right? If it's an element of God that He placed in humanity so that they would understand Him, and I think there is like an element, a foundational principle of sacredness there. It may not be fulfilled in sacredness. It may not be the fulfillment of sacred, but it is at a core foundational, since it came from God, it has to be sacred. Does that make sense? Do you see kind of where I'm going with?
It does.
It does.
I think it mirrors what I said earlier, where I think I have this quality that I think to be, but sometimes I use it probably incorrectly, right? Because it's the element that is good, and my nature every once in a while twists it, right? But it's tricky, because I also agree with what Evil said, that the best version of Evil and the best version of me and the best version of you is none of us and all, right? So it's tricky, because I think he's got a point there.
Yeah, I agree. No, that's how I said. It's like he's making me ping pong this right now.
I completely understand, like, the objection to what I've said, but I think mine is probably a bit more shaped along because of the type of journey that I've had. Like I've absolutely hit my rock bottom, and in that I discovered that almost nothing about myself is actually conducive towards me growing as a person, towards me being a good person, and it's just a sad fact that I didn't start building an acceptable version of myself until after I was past like 22 years old. So in that respect, I think I'm actually still pretty young. And as far as like it's not like I'm only 14 years old now.
I'm 13, guys.
Yeah.
I'm 13.
But it really, I haven't had. I've had plenty of good things to look on beforehand, but I didn't actually start building myself up intentionally until God, so much later in my life, and that's it's something I know that you've commented on. Like you've you've praised my ability to just like keep reaching out to people that I want to surround myself with. The fact that I didn't let both you guys just depart completely from my life, like I maybe that's my most sacred I guess religious thing is like I just. But again, I feel like that's a part of iron sharpeneth iron. Like it's me surrounding myself with intentional. So I feel like analyzing myself is so much more difficult to do whenever it comes to something like this. So
I just find myself sort of, I don't know. I have this view of the situation. I fear what happens when people ascribe away everything to God. Like I do think that He has given us agency to make the decisions. Like when I imagine a parent, right? No parent wants their child to be so dependent and so pathetic, like a worm in the ground, right? Every parent wants their child to grow strong, capable, and able to do things of value, right? And I suppose I don't buy that you are not doing that. I think you are doing the things of value and growing. And to hear, oh, no sacred element because it's all him and not me. It just I don't know. It
I mean, well, even
doesn't
what you said
quite-
would still be God, right? If God put in us the ability to grow and the ability to make the right choice, it was His choice to give us that will. It's still God's will, right? Like, even if His will is to let us make choices one way or the other, it would still fall under His will.
Right. That makes sense to me. Yeah.
It's like, so I was going to do something
really
funny.
Just reveals that I have such a huge self-esteem problem.
Yeah, it's funny. That's true too. Poor evil. I was going to add. You were talking about keeping us together, and I was going to add placebo on Pokemon Go while we talked about it, but it took.
Oh,
long,
yeah,
so
yeah.
it was going to be funny.
That's
anyway.
been our joke for a long time. The friendship's broken when they remove you from Pokemon Go.
Yeah. We've added back in every other element of our lives, but is it truly a friendship if we are?
Hey,
on Pokemon
are
Go?
we together again? That's the real question. I would do it, but I don't have it downloaded.
Yeah, it's fine. I actually had to do it was like 4 updates for it to even work on mine because it was so far behind. I'm trying to think. Gosh, it was a tough. It's crazy because I look up these questions. And I'm like, that's a good question, and then I struggle to answer it myself. Sacred. I mean, that is tough. Something that's sacred. I don't. For the sake of fluidity of the podcast. Because I actually, believe it or not, I didn't wait until this moment to even think about it. I was thinking about it earlier today, and I have struggled to pinpoint I don't know. I mean, maybe, but I don't know. I don't have one. I do not have something that I can pinpoint that I mean, is there sacred elements to my life? Again, yes, obviously. But I mean, I think those are fairly I would say, I mean, I present things to God before I do that. There's elements, or I would even say how I choose to use my intellect, and I try to be honest with it. I mean, I know that we're all biased and we're all human, so again, the human element comes in and kind of thwarts it. But I do think if you. God gave us an intellect. There's a reason why we can perceive things that a gerbil cannot. That is an element that I think is special and almost sacred in humanity. And it was intended so that we could understand and know God and have a relationship, because I do think you have to understand someone to have a true, like, the way biblical love of God, right? Like, you would have to be able to understand him. You can't just, it can't be forced. Because you can, okay, I always use this. You can have a bride who is married off by the parents to some abuser, and she will never love that husband. Right? You can put them in the situation where they have to do things and they are stuck in a loving relationship, but if they don't make that choice to actually like emotionally connect and love that person, you're never going to have true love. You can have admiration. I think we talked about this. We actually kind of, maybe it was last week, we talked about admiration.
I've said this many times, yeah.
Acceptance, acquiescence. There's all kinds of other elements that we kind of sometimes confuse and use love for, but in reality, but actual love, I think, has to be a choice. I mean, right? You get like, even the John 3:16 is like, those whoever shall, there's an element of choice, I guess. That's why I liked the Deuteronomy that I have on my arm.
Whoever believes in him,
yes,
shall have eternal life. Like, you choose whether to sort of believe or not.
I mean, it's like, choose you this day, blessing or cursing, life or death. Right? There's always an element of choice within, and so I don't know. Like, to me, there is something there that, like, us doing this, I think that's one of the values and the reason why the Bible's so, like, you need to have a gathering of yourselves together and talk and discuss, because I think we kind of got a little twisted in Western society, where it means you have to go to a certain building, and this first you do praise and worship, then you do tithe, then you do bulletin board for the week, then you have a 30-minute message from one guy who gives you, and then you go home and you forget about 90% of what he just said. And it's like, I don't know, that's not that rhythm is not actually, there's nowhere in Scripture says this is, it just says you do need to gather together with fellow believers, you need to discuss, you need to praise God, you need to, there's elements of that element of it, but we've overstructured, we've almost like Ford motored Christianity. We what's the word? Oh my God, what's the word I'm looking? Mechanized it or something. Like, we've like structured it to where, instead of it being the core of what the Bible was talking about, we have made it, like, because it's just made it easier, right? It made it quicker. Boom, 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 boom. We hit our hot spots and we go home. Because I generally believe, if we're sitting here, I mean, for some reason, this podcast, I did not intend for this podcast to become theological at all. But we do this a lot off camera. We will talk about God. We will talk about things. And I think that's important. I think having other people speak into your life spiritually, religiously, theologically, like we've said, iron sharpening iron. I think that is you have to have that as a Christian, or as, I would say, even as a human, you need it. But since we are specifically talking about Christianity, I will further go into that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to get back to the original question. I don't know if there's any singular thing that I could be like, other than what I've already ranted on for the past 10 minutes.
No, just keep on going on the tangents. I mean, hey, we were made to be social creatures. Why do you think the Tower of Babel happened?
Durka. Anyway, better watch myself. I'll get banned on YouTube. So it was a movie. It's a movie reference. It's perfectly acceptable. It was.
I'm sure.
That should be fair use or something. Let's. Next question. What life lessons have you learned the hard way?
My turn to cop out, and then you two are on the hook. Okay. All of them. I've said it about myself for ages. I do everything wrong the first time. Everything. I feel 100% of things, the first time I try it, I will do it wrong. But my second try is way better than most people's second try. I would say my second try is probably the equivalent of other people's 10th try. Mm-hmm. And my third try is like the equivalent of their 15th or 16th, right? Like, I learn quick, but I learn every single lesson by fucking it up myself the first time. Mm-hmm. So that's my response. There's almost nothing I've learned from watching others and not having to try it myself and fuck it up.
I've got a great story for this, but I heavily relate to that. Even as a child, when my mom, she would, spare the rod or whatever, they would spank me, but they didn't want to hurt me, so they would just kind of like, bah, 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 bah. I would be like, that don't hurt, until they would spank me hard enough that I would actually learn the lesson. Like, that's how stubborn I am about having to learn the hard way. Is like, even if someone tries to like teach me a lesson in the softest way possible, I am so, because my sister's the exact opposite, right? Like, they could just be disappointed in her, and she'll cry and be like, I'm sorry. And she is like, I am the most like stubborn, like, I have to feel the pain of getting it wrong and the consequences of my actions before it registers. It was just, you said that, I was like, I relate so strongly to this. Like, I learn through pain. And it's crazy. I learned, that's how I write. I will write a bunch of stuff, right? And it's there for the most part, but I have to write it first and then have someone go, this doesn't make sense, this doesn't make sense, this, and then I can go through and go, oh, I see what I did wrong. Because then my brain's like opened up and I can go, oh, I see why I worded it that way and it was wrong. Let me clarify and make it better. I'm kind of that way with, like, when I took quizzes, I would do really well on the tests and quizzes, but it's because I would do like, in my head, I would take 4 or 5 different I would, like, make myself answer the questions without knowing the answers, because the best way that I'd learned that I would actually remember it is when I got it wrong. I'd be like, oh, I didn't know that answer. I don't like that. I don't like not knowing, and it would make it stick. So, yeah, I don't know if it's a personality trait or what, but, yeah, I'm the same, like, damn near everything.
True about that. I think there's something true about that universally, right? Like, even in, when I was teaching, the best thing that I would do is I would give the kids like test questions ahead of time, and then when the test came around, they were familiar with the types of questions, right? And they had fucked it up before, right? Like, before every test, we did a review day with a ton of questions that were just very similar to the test, but like reworded or things like that, right? Slightly different material, right? And I would always say, mess it up today, right? Go right ahead. It does not matter. Mess it up, but at least know what you did wrong so that tomorrow when it matters, you don't mess it up, right? Because I sort of embodied that trait. Like, I mess it up the first time, so maybe these kids are also going to mess it up the first time. And what do you know? It was effective and it worked.
Let me ask you fellas something, because this made me think of something. Both of you played athletic sports in high school, correct? Is that correct? Okay. I kind of had this trait in practice where I would try things and learn it through getting it wrong in practice. Did you notice that it made it more difficult to break into, like, say, a starting role, because coaches go off of whether or not you're getting, but then they would learn when they saw me play in the game, and I would play better than the guys who were doing it right in practice, because I mess it up I took the time out to realize practice is when you get it wrong, so that when the game comes, it feels natural and you get it right. You see it and you get it right. And it always takes them like a few weeks to a few games, and then they're like, oh, this guy needs to be starting. He's significantly better than the other guys, and they had to realize that me messing it up in practice was a part of me learning. Did you guys get that experience at all, or?
No, Evil. Sorry.
I mean, I can't answer, but it's actually going to go into my actual answer.
Okay.
So,
okay.
No, I'll just say no.
With soccer, it was really weird. Everyone had so much fucking ego, right? Like, just much.
High school boys too, right?
I was probably the only person on the field ever willing to do anything that would cause a mistake. Like ever. I can remember one time the goalie kicked it out. I'm at the midfield line, right? Like, I'm halfway down the field. He kicks it out. It's overhead. It's flying down. It's coming right to me. And I, like, flicked my foot up and kicked it over the head of the defender, right? Could have gone south real quick, right? I could have missed. The ball could have gone. I could have looked like an absolute idiot. But I was willing to take the chance, right? Let's give it a shot, right?
Yeah.
And I can remember everyone around me being like, holy shit, right? And then I got megged later and I got cut from the team, and I was like, thanks, appreciate that. Guess we didn't notice what I did back there.
Right.
Because I'm willing to take the chances. I'm willing to take the risks, So I mean, a little bit, yes. I mean, everyone who played soccer was just like, I will do what I am good at every single moment of every single, and I will not learn anything new. My left foot doesn't exist, I'm
Yeah.
only right-footed. Yeah.
Okay, you give us your full answer. I think we've answered it from our, so it's your time to shine.
Okay, so I guess to fully answer this, I'll kind of start with kind of a description. Um, we all have a friend of ours. His name is Rill, and Rill is basically what I was before I kind of had this like whole change. Um, what I say about that is, and I have absolutely nothing against Rill whatsoever.
By the way, it's
Is
also
Rill
his screen. It's not his real name, which is good. So that's fine. So yeah.
correct? Yeah, I'm not putting anyone on blast here. It's just Rill to me is like the ultimate cautious person. And before I had this like whole identity crisis, crash out, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
That was me. Um, Everything that I did in my life, I was measured and I observed before acting. So my first try was like most people's 10th try. Like I was naturally gifted at things, and I never wanted to show any kind of imperfection whatsoever. And to kind of tie it in to the answer of what life lesson took a long time to learn from one of our previous podcasts is that the world really doesn't much care. And that's honestly that one is the one that I had to learn the hard way. And it again, that's a little bit of a cop out because it is the same, but everything that I have learned after that has also been, I wouldn't say difficult, but it has been easy for me to recognize that I need to learn this lesson, and it's been easier for me to approach because of that one hard lesson that I did learn.
Mhm.
And again, I'm not blasting anyone, but like I feel a lot of mixed emotions about seeing and I've told Real this before, like I you were like a much younger version of me because that was almost I had the same mannerisms, the same personality, like that. It was such a it was such a divergent path that it's taken me to get from where I am from what I was before this. And I'm not like criticizing him or anything. Like everyone's got to be their own person. It's just I see him as the worst part of what I was like because I behaved like that. So and
I think, yeah.
I try to do that like without like I'm not saying he's a bad person at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's just he was my worst person.
I think that your life is going this way, your life is going this way, and then at some point a big kink in the road happens, right? Just a massive twist that sends your life a totally different direction. And I think that you're grateful for that twist, right? Like I think you think that twist was
Yes.
so immensely valuable to you,
Not
and
at
you
the
can
time,
see
but
and you can see that his trajectory you
Didn't get the
believe to
kink.
be on that,
Yeah.
and you wish for him to get that kink because you care about him. That makes total sense to me, right? And you two
it
are
did
not
me.
alone in that.
Well, okay, so let me explain because I don't want him to have the same kind of kink that I
Sure,
did. Like I
sure.
don't wish that on anyone. But
The
I
outcome,
do think that everyone has room for personal growth, and it does not have to be the same as my growth. Like, just because I recognize the similarities there does not mean that we would both benefit from the same lessons.
right?
We wouldn't even take them away the same way. So, um, it's not. I'm not trying to compare myself to him, but it's hard for me not to because that's the walk that I walked before the kink in the road. So,
It's so
yeah.
okay. So I've had a light bulb moment when you were talking about this. Um, it is no secret that me and Real do not particularly get along when we play D&D, right? Like, our personalities clash aggressively. And it's because I think a lot of it is what you just described. He is so overly cautious, and I guess that's maybe part of what I share. I'm a bit careful, but I'm just like, we don't.
Freeballing, yeah.
Especially when we know, it's like, I've made this statement to you guys, like, as why I would get frustrated, because it'd be clear that, say, Placebo was the DM, and he was leading us past this area. This area is, you can just tell by everything he is doing, it's time to move on. And he's like, oh, I don't know, guys. What about behind this rock? And what about behind? And I'm like, let's just move forward. Like, like it's fine. You know what? I'm making and then I will make an executive decision. I'm like, we are charging forward. Screw it. And then, there'd be a clash there.
And then he wouldn't like that.
Yes.
Right?
And and he would pull back or recoil, and there would be tension there. It's just fascinating. I see, and part of that is, it made me think about another element of myself where I have gotten, I don't know if it's age or what, but I do get a little bit impatient now with when I think, I'm like, listen, I don't want to say nonsense, because that's an unfair statement for someone who's but nonsense, right? Like, I'm less willing to, and maybe this is something I need to go back and kind of tweak on, or it's like, the longer you've done stuff and tried to debate with people, and then you realize some people just don't change, I think there's like a subconscious of frustration that you just go, I'm not going to waste time on this. I know what will happen here. I will give of myself to try to understand and pour into this situation to intellectually, like, mesh, and I realize sometimes it just doesn't. You know what I mean? Like, then it just, and you're like, oh man, all that's gone. But there is a part of me that does kind of just go like, let's just take, let's just move on. And so, yeah, it was just interesting, because that does explain to me, you talking about that, a bit of where like that conflict always, because there was, like, I would say more than anybody else, me and Real probably have the strongest, like, in D&D conflict of personalities, and how, like, the game, like, I thought it just brought out personality traits in us that were not compatible. And I'm also very, like, if things aren't going well, I will voice my opinion, and he's the opposite, right? He'll, like, pull in and just, like, he'll definitely be upset, but he won't,
Definitely not in the moment.
Yeah.
I can recall, we played, and for about 3 weeks, he felt like he couldn't do things with his character for some reason. Like, he wasn't making the decisions were being made for him. And it was only at the end of those 3 weeks that he said, because I could tell he was not happy, as you say, it was quite obvious. It was only after 3 weeks of it that he actually said, here's how I feel. I feel like I'm not in control of my character. I feel like the decisions are being made for me. Right. So yeah, I that seems to check out.
That's it. I just yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I don't think that Evil and Real are alone in that at all. I mean, I know a whole fuck ton of people that are overly cautious, I would say, right? I mean, I have 3 cousins, right? The middle one goes to the gym with me, very outgoing, very social. The older one is immensely worried, right? He won't play like hacky sack. He won't, or cornhole or anything. He won't play any of it, because he's not going to be as good as I am at those games, and it's like, dude, like, we just want to give you a hug, man. It's okay. We care about you. We love you. You're an amazing person. You don't have to be good at ping pong. But he's just
fear
so
of failure.
Absolutely.
I have that. Now that I do have. Yeah.
Well, but for cautious people, it is debilitating. Like, it will absolutely. Yeah.
It must be. I mean, I can see it in my cousin. He's just absolutely afraid of everything, right?
Refuse to try new things that don't just pop out with immediate interest. Yeah. No, it was that again. right about that same time, like that whole like rekeying your mind. That was when I started like branching out to D&D and trying to write my own fantasy and stuff that I was purposefully trying to rewrite my own brain to kind of like fill in gaps that I did not have there before. So, and I have again, like it's not a beat up Rill, but there's been a lot of friction between Rill and I because I'm just like, if you can just get over this little thing, it'll be so much better for you. But it's taken a long time for me to, maybe not. Maybe just we'll each do our own things and contribute to our own growth. And
It is very hard to love people and wish things for them, and for it to have to take the step back and to say, okay, I'm not, very hard, very, very hard.
It's interesting. What you're saying again is making me very introspective. I'm wondering how much I have changed because, like, the reason I don't dance, I never got into. I had people ask me to go to the clubs with them, and I wouldn't dance because I was afraid. I've never danced, so I didn't want to not be good at it. Same thing with singing, right? I never trained to sing, so I didn't want to ever do. Like, I've had friends go, "Oh, we rented a karaoke van. We're gonna drive around and sing karaoke," and I was like, "Nah, I'm good." I would pass on because it's funny. I will say this: it's because usually, especially early on, anything I tried to do, I was good at, and so when you get used to it, and then you find the things that you're not, you're even more like hyper aware. Like any sport I tried, I was at least like above average to good at. I was always good at sports. Academia, I could, I would do a subject. Worst I'm getting is a B, and that's if I only gave 50% effort, right? But then you start finding these things like dancing or singing, and you're like, something you have to train.
Not up there immediately,
and it's like, I can't let I have this vision of myself that I always succeed, and this isn't working, and I do think I have tried. I will say recently, even I would say streaming and podcasting. I am doing it with the understanding that I am not there. Like, we've talked about this. I don't like my cadence. I don't like my voice. I do like the way my brain works a little bit. So I will say that's the one element that kind of gives me some level of security and safety in this whole process. But I do find what we're doing now to be a growing process. It is something to get me out of comfort zone. And it's, I don't know. I wonder how much, because I'm still wondering that with school. Like, how much did I keep doing the certain things because it's where my comfort was? It was what I was good at.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting. It just made me, I think I've grown, but how much have I grown? It maybe, it just makes you introspective when you guys start talking about stuff. I'm like, man, that kind of applies. Wow. Yeah.
But I think there's also a reasonable question around what is there to gain by doing the dancing and singing thing, right? Like, I went on a date and she asked, are you the type to sing karaoke at the start of the night or at the end of the night, right? Like, do you need a few drinks in you to get going?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm not really the type to sing karaoke, right? And it's like, and the immediate response, I think mentally is, oh, well, you're afraid to get out of your comfort zone. And it's like, well, not necessarily. I get outside of my comfort zone all the time, but there are certain things that I do that I love that get me out of my comfort zone, like embracing that discomfort socially, right? Like, I love that because that is, I don't know. I don't know that it's going to go well when I do it. I don't know how it's going to end, but so it is a bit uncomfortable, but I love that. But then karaoke, what's there to gain is the real question. What is there? Tough. I don't know.
Also, I have this also ties into a bit of a life philosophy I have, right? I don't think everybody should try to do everything because I played football with a guy, and we went into where we were playing. It was professional. I played with. It was like basically the equivalent of the USFL now, right? Like arena ball. That it's professional football. You're getting paid, but it's not NFL level, right? But we had guys on our team with Super Bowl rings. They played for the Rams, the Ravens. One guy had a national championship ring from Tennessee. He was a starting wide receiver for that. I mean, like, good players, right? This is a fairly high level. There was a guy who kept trying out for the team and just could not accept. His name is Larry Black. I will remember it forever. He got in a car wreck, and it messed with his. I mean, he was never particularly hyper athletic before, but I mean, he could not control. I mean, he was just gangly, right? He couldn't do. He would trip over himself. He was never going to, and he couldn't accept that he wasn't going to be a professional athlete, and he would hold himself back. He put so many other things on the side burner in an attempt to try to make this thing he wanted to be true. And I think there's a lot of people who it's like. Chase your dreams, yes, but also find what you're good at, and then it's like there's a correlation between you're also good at it and you enjoy it, and then work hard at it. Because I do think some people, they want to be an actress, but they're just garbage at it, and they could have been the world's best ping pong player. Who knows? Like, right? Like, who knows? You could be absolutely elite, but they were so stuck in trying to do this thing they wanted to do that they sabotaged their life, and they could have had a much happier, more fulfilling life doing something else that they were actually gifted at. And so there's an element there of being realistic, right? Like, I don't want to, it's not like don't chase your dreams, but there is like a realistic element that makes it worthwhile. And so I don't know how to do that.
Maybe like fix your dreams, right? Like, I don't know. I think you do have some element of control over your dreams, right? Like what you really desire, what you long for. You know, I don't think it's entirely up to this vast ether of confusion. I think we have a bit of a part to play, and people can shape it to some degree.
Evil? Do you have any?
You know, honestly, I'm just sitting there thinking how pretentious it would be for me to tell someone that, hey, your dreams are valid or not valid, or, you know, and I think it's a lot of gray area to get in, but honestly, if you just keep to who you are, and there's a lot of confusion for people on exactly who they are, so they may not 100% know that, but, you know, don't let others convince you that your dreams are not enough. That's really kind of my key takeaway from all this.
I'm fine with that as long as you also balance it with a realistic view of what you can accomplish. Because there is a point where people will sabotage themselves chasing after something they think they want, and so I don't think that's healthy.
And that's why I said, as long as you recognize yourself, I think you can set your own dreams accordingly. And this was something I did. I let others set my dreams beforehand, and I could never accomplish that because I always gave the best version of myself out as an example. I only did the things that, you know, I knew 100% that I could impress everyone with, and their dreams that they had for me were nothing like what I actually wanted to do. Yeah. So I think as long as you can recognize the area that you encompass, and as long as your dreams are something attainable is a very key word there, then don't let others, you know, warp what you see for yourself. Like, it's going to lead to ruin, whether it's resentment or whether it's the inability to accomplish it. It's, you know, don't let others warp what you want.
What you were talking about, the attainable part, is what I'm talking about. Like, I'm just saying, I agree, have dreams, and dreams that will cause you to grow exponentially. I think that's the important thing. That's really the value of a dream, right? It forces you to grow past your comfort zone. But it needs to be something that's realistic, right? Like, it has to be, because if not, you'll get some. Because I think if you try to go for your dreams and you just fail miserably over and over, and you can tell, eventually reality hits. And you're like, this is not what you can get crushed by that too. Like, that is also a crushing factor that can cause people to lose their desire to be a part of humanity. Is if they put all their eggs into a basket that is literally impossible. Like, someone with no legs is not going to be a starting guard in the NBA. There's just not, and if they put their entire personality and sense of purpose and feeling of usefulness into that, and then they never accomplish it, they're always going to feel a sense of lacking and a sense of not being enough, and not like that will have the same negative effect so I don't know. I just want people to be like, yes, go for your dream, but also like assess yourself proper to some degree. Always be assessing yourself. Of course, I say that all the time anyway. That's how you grow.
I think that's why we're getting hung up on different parts, because I acknowledge that, like, assess where you are. Like that's the first step before you can ever set a dream for yourself, is you have to know where you are,
Yeah.
what area you are encompassing. But I don't agree that the dreams have to be growth. You may have to grow in order to accomplish them, but sometimes people's dreams are a mad regression from where things are, from reality even. Some people will have a dream to be just completely live off the grid, live isolated, live away from society, and that there may be some personal growth in order to learn how to do that.
There's
but once
a
you're
form
out
of
there,
growth.
you're gone. You don't have to deal with any of the shit in life anymore. There's so much less responsibility. It's literally just about you, nature, survival, that kind of stuff. And there is growth in order to learn those skills, sure.
Yeah.
But once you're out there, there's so much less in that bubble than there is in, growing in the
I feel like
society.
you're more responsible, right? Because you can't go, oh, I did a boo-boo, I can just go to the hospital that's 15 minutes away, right? Like, you have to cautiously gauge your food is your responsibility. Your heating and not freezing to death, your responsibility. You have to be able to chop wood. You have to know how to chop wood, dry it, put it, like, there is growth. It's just different. It's instead of growing into a modern society, you're growing into someone who knows how to do most people in modern society could not do it because they don't know how to. They would have to grow in order to be able to live off the grid. They would have to build a database in their brain on how to do it. They'd have to physically grow. Many people don't have the physical capability to chop wood. They would, for enough to like heat their whole house during the winter. They would have to physically build themselves up to, you know what I mean? Like, when I'm saying growth, I don't mean like socially grow.
I mean, it sounds like we're just arguing semantics about what requires growth and what doesn't. I think we're like arguing about like bits and pieces. So I'm just mean like the overall, the goal that you attain does not have to be big or small. It may require personal growth to get there, but once you're there, you're not growing. You don't have to grow. Just the steps to get there.
I was just wondering if Sibo had, if his cogs were giving him a side of this.
No, I to some degree I think dreams are a relic of childhood that I think largely detracts from a good life, because I think a large part of living a good life is gratitude. And gratitude looks a bit backwards, and dreams look a bit forward at everything you don't have. And so I don't know. Is it beneficial to have plans for the future? Yes. Is it beneficial to have long-term plans for the future that are going to be difficult to attain? Yes. But you kind of need the steps along the way, and I would sooner focus on the gratitude for the past, but it's an aside, right? I don't know that it entirely speaks about what you guys are talking about.
It absolutely does, because honestly, the adult version of a dream is your 5-year, 10-year plan, your 15-year plan, your retirement plan. Like that's all. It changes shapes, and we specify it more. But it's not like I'm, gonna wake up one day when I'm 40 and be like, I want to be a fucking astronaut. Like it's not.
Right, you're right.
And some people do, and then they get into a submarine and they go into the bottom, the deeps of the ocean with a billionaire, and the submarine implodes immediately, and because they never admitted that they weren't marine biologists, and they just had a bunch of money, and they're like, I'm going to be a marine biologist this week, and I'm an engineer. I made a lot of money. It's like, but you're not an engineer.
Yeah.
I mean, so I was just thinking it's funny. Like, there are some people.
I was referencing the Titan, the Ocean Gate.
Yeah,
scandal.
the billionaire that had the submarine that was supposed to be a deep ocean submarine that he like built himself, and other really wealthy people were like, we believe that you could do that in a year. That sounds solid. You have money. We believe you can do anything. And it's like
part of it was that he used a wireless Xbox controller for the controls of this thing. Like, so you couldn't even have used a wired one. It's wireless. Like, this insanity.
Just so you know, the Navy uses wired Xbox controllers for their whatever the fucking thing's called.
Somehow less egregious because it's wired.
Wired. Yeah, you don't have to worry about the signal being lost. Yeah, I agree.
Right, you're like. You're miles down there, and you're like, well, guys, Wi-Fi's out. So
Bluetooth on this thing is God dang it.
Yeah.
Anybody got a battery pack on them?
Right.
I forgot to charge it before we got 3,000 feet under the surface of the ocean. Quick, rub your socks together and then hold the edges of this battery. Sorry, I can see the whole scenario. Anyway, no, I agree. I think it was a good conversation. I do think almost all of our disagreement is a bit on like semantics and definition and just like how we're defining things. All right, so now since we're doing the reverse, we're trying the opposite order of things. We did the personal question, deep, seeking, internalizing questions first, and now we will kind of dig into the lighthearted social media, which hopefully will remain lighthearted and not also, well, I don't know. I don't mind. It'll never be lighthearted.
Free ball.
We don't do...
See where we go.
Yeah, we don't do lighthearted, so that's okay. We always make it deep and meaningful and how it will affect humanity. So let me pull up, I think, this one. Yes. All right, and I go over here, click here, and I click back over here so everybody can see it. Okay, I think this was just an interesting statement. The very first one, I got it because I want you guys to talk about it. Zuby says, pro-family versus anti-family will be a more significant dividing line between everything and everyone this century. And he supports pro-family, which I also do, but so give me your shtick. What do you think upon hearing that?
I don't know, man. The man versus woman hate is just unreal right now. Like I don't understand. Like
I would say the woman versus man. I think both sides have massive influencers who are convincing their side to be antagonistic towards the other.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be, it already is just such a huge deal that I struggle to see anything taking its place.
I guess he's including
I think black, white, and men, women is like, I mean, we're going to have like 8 different quadrants of groups of people, like black man, black woman, white man, white woman, and then just all of the shit underneath, right? I think
he's including that though in pro-family because you have to like a woman and then be married and have children and stay a family. So in other words, if the man versus woman is an anti-family position because it's keeping them separate, it's keeping them not liking each other, and if you're not gonna start a family and maintain a consistent cohesive family with someone you just detest, right? So I think he was including that. So I would say you actually are on the anti-family. I mean, you agree with it that is an argument. I think his was more broad. You were getting a little more like subsection, but I agree with you. I think that is. I mean, we're seeing almost all of Western society, including Eastern countries that have tinges of Western, like South Korea, Japan, even China a little bit, which is weird, but places that have a little bit of Western culture are also having huge population decreases. And it's one of the reasons, especially in the Western, is because of this like antagonism
I just want us to get along, man. I just want us to realize, yes, some men are shit, some women are shit, some women are good, some men are good. Like,
And go try to find them.
can't we just do that? And
Yeah.
that's impossible, and it makes me sad.
Also, here's what I would say, and this is one thing I like. I wish that men, if you're going to be on the internet, start telling men how. But I wish they would focus more on men and how to be a good man than worrying about, I guess, ragging on women in general, like in a general sense.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree. I agree.
Because I've seen
Yeah,
some of
that'd
my
be much
favorite
better.
female content creators are doing that for the female side. They're like trying to explain men from like, listen, you can't be a bitch who never wants to put anything into the relationship. Never wants. I know there's content creators out there telling you that's the way to do it, and being super arrogant and narcissistic is the way to get what you want. It's not. You're going to be, and they're trying to help. Like, I'm going to focus on. They're focusing on women because they're
undo the
women, and I
damage,
think
yeah.
men should do that too. Like, focus on like how to not be an asshole towards
Well,
women.
it's the same difficulty, right? Like a huge amount of the female influencers out there for women are trying to tell the women, "Hey, be shit to your husbands because
Yeah.
they ain't shit," and a huge amount of the male influencers are trying to tell their people, "Hey, women, their opinion changes like the wind. You know, fuck them, do your own thing," and it's all just bad, man.
What about you? You are our resident. I want to have babies guy.
I mean, I guess I don't actually see those. I mean,
Good.
I do see the women. And honestly, I think that modern feminism is probably the biggest plague to human
Yeah, it's
society.
bad. Yeah, it's bad.
I don't see many of the men ragging on women. What I do see a lot of is actually something that goes in hand with like men's personal growth. It's a lot of men's gym culture stuff. Because it's like, you know what, just get women off the mind, just go improve yourself, start with healthy body, healthy mind, and then you can build from there. And I see a lot of that in the social media that I do, which is, my 10 minutes on the toilet.
Sure,
So
right.
that's, that's my extent of it. I
That's
try to
fair.
reserve away from most of that, even the negatives on both sides. I don't really subscribe to that kind of crap.
That's wise. I think
Sure.
that's the good way of ignore the haters.
Yeah.
Okay, so this actually brought up something I was going to talk to Placebo about.
Yeah, go for it.
So you were saying you hate when people have headphones on in the gym, correct?
Yes, I do. I do. I wish we would go into communal places and be communal.
It's
I,
funny.
I wish we would not
I
have the
might
headphones.
have the exact opposite position on that. I think the gym is where
I
you
think
go
I do as well.
to take care of yourself. I hate when people are chattering and they're taking up space, and I've got an hour to make myself physically better, and they're sitting around a bench having a full ass conversation for 10 minutes, taking up the bench that I can't get around or they have their plates on it, and if you ask to get in, they're like, "Oh, I'm using that," and you can't. They're still talking. I'm like, workout, then go to a coffee shop. I'm fine with if you want to have conversations with. I think you need to have conversations with people, but this is the place where we go sweat and lift heavy weights, not the place where we have deep philosophical or talk about Susie's fat ass that we're going to bang later.
I'm not even asking for a deep philosophical discussion. But like, hey man, your form looks great. Dude, you look way bigger than last week, right? Just little shit like that, right? Like and you're right. Maybe there is a better environment for what I'm asking for, but like the park or something like that. Maybe
Yeah.
that would be better. But I just look at the world right now, and I think we are struggling a huge amount for the
For a
communal
human
sense.
connection. Yeah.
And here is one realm where we could have
Could
it,
do it.
and we are saying nah. And maybe in a perfect world, then sure, this could be our one little area where it's like, no, put your head down, grindstone, get to it, and the other areas are for socialization.
It's
But
yeah.
I
But
think a huge amount of right now is focused on go to the gym, better yourself, blah blah blah, and so a lot of people are in there, and so that is the realm right
Yeah.
now. I think.
I
So
just. Oh, go
I
ahead.
I actually agree with both of you. Um, but for me, it's like whenever they're wearing headsets and just like walking down the street, like that's where I'm like, okay, you don't need to be like not paying attention to your surroundings. There's other stuff at play here. Whenever you're
Sure.
sweating your way through a workout in the gym, that's time and place. I get that. Um, but whenever you are in a public setting where there are multiple different kinds of things going on that you do need to be cognizant of, the fact that you're just isolating and staring at the ground is
Yeah, it's
is
interesting.
very detrimental.
I agree with you.
As much as
Placebo said something that I really and I wonder if it's just personality difference. Because if someone has heads, it doesn't stop me from trying to communicate with them. Like if I see them, they're working out, I wait for them, and then I tap them on the shoulder or I wave at them, and I'm like, hey, and I'd let them know I want to talk to you. But that doesn't bother me, and I gotta communicate, so I will interrupt your music. And usually people are like, oh yeah, what, like they're cool with it. And that's kind of how but I understand that a lot of people see that as a barrier. They're uncomfortable interrupting. Yeah. And so I was wondering how much
There's a guy that goes to the gym. There's a guy that goes to the gym near me, covered head to toe in tattoos, shaved head, wears a weight belt.
Oh yeah,
right?
He's serious, man.
And
yeah.
Has a like a rag over his head all the time.
Yeah.
And the guy's a beast, man. The guy's a fucking monster on the weights, And I would love to just, I really believe that we should tell each other the nice things that we think about each other. I would love to just tell, dude, you are awesome. Keep crushing it, right? But he always had the headphones in, right? And I wonder, right? Because like maybe he doesn't give a shit what I think. Maybe it would roll off his back. But I think for a lot of people it would be significant for me to say that to them. You know what I mean?
I think it would be even more significant if you tap on the head. You're like, dude, I just want to let you. I've been watching. Right. I see you're killing it, man. If you took that extra time to just like I think he'd be like,
sure.
Well, thank you. You too, buddy.
And maybe, actually, not even. You are correct, right? Because that would add the extra step of effort to do that. You're 100% right. But I guess I would love for it right now to be a bit easier because of the climate.
It makes
right?
sense. It makes sense.
But you're right. Yeah.
No, I get it. Okay, that's all.
I'll tell you how that goes. I'll tell you how that goes next week.
I know but I
actually that's not true because I got to get my tattoo tomorrow, so I'm not going to be there at the same time. I'll let you know in like a month. I'll let you know.
Next time, Joaquin. So I love this comment. This because we've talked about this before. Bots are harder to distinguish on LinkedIn than X, not because they are better, and then because humans behave like bots on. He called it cringed in, but LinkedIn. I agree. Like that's the problem with LinkedIn, right? Yeah. Is that everybody writes as if they're AI bots, and everybody uses AI bots, and it's just like the most disingenuous, like robotic, formulaic bullshit. And it's why I hope LinkedIn dies. I do. I think it is now. It takes up a lot of job searching effort and energy, and I don't think it pays out almost anything. I think it is now a black hole of like talent and intellect and effort and energy and time. It's just like it has so far deviated from what it originally I think was intended to be that now it's like I refuse to. I will find some other way to find work, but it will not be through LinkedIn anymore. I don't care. Hopefully what I'm doing now with Remote Warrior works out. But if it doesn't, and I have to get back into I have to send out resumes again, there's no point. I think people are wasting their lives on LinkedIn. Don't bother. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to cover that. I wasn't sure if you guys had similar life experiences.
You ever see on YouTube there are bots that chat underneath, right? Like bots will send comments underneath. Every once in a while, a bot will respond to a bot, and then that bot will get a response from like and it's just robots talking to each other. That's how I think of LinkedIn, to be honest. And the sad part is like it's humans behind it that are like almost striving to renounce their humanity to behave like robots with each other to get what they want. And it's like, damn, we are, well, maybe not we, but like you are cooked. Your brain is fried. You're done.
No, I agree. I 1,000% agree. Yeah. What automation and like AI is doing to the human brain? I would say it needs to be studied, but it has been. Historically, we've already looked at how it's affected us over the years, how technology advancement has impacted our brain's capacity to do things like remember details, remember words long term. Our capacity to bring in and retain information has been hindered as a overall humanity by these inventions. It's very fascinating, and the fact that nobody talks about it, nobody's like, let's slow the race to progress, so that we don't progress ourselves into extinction, or at least meaninglessness. Even if we exist, we're just going to be mindless. Okay, this will be fun. All right, this will be fun. Let me put this up.
Can't wait.
So I don't know if this is too old for you guys, but I think some of these shows should still have been around when you guys were around. So I'm curious if
I
any
don't
of
know
these
a single one of them.
Okay, that's what I was wondering about. That was my first thing. Evil. You're only 6 years younger than me. Do you remember any of these?
No. Half of them at least. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have? If you had to choose one to ask to the prom, do you have any that you would?
It's gonna be bad.
Oh boy.
Kelly Bundy.
Okay. All right. You're right. That made me giggle, but it's
That's probably the worst one on the board, but hell yeah, dude.
She is hot. All right, I will explain my thinking. So, Topanga, she was like, I thought she was. To this day, I go back and watch. When I watched it, I didn't like her, and now I still don't like her. I didn't
like her. Yeah.
I think she is flighty, and she's kind of like, wasn't she like kind of into like crystals, and like she was almost like a hippie, new agey, like couldn't predict any. She was just like almost, I thought, kind of used the kid too, like used the main character a bit. Like she was just the worst version of a woman, is what I would say. She's like all the negatives. That's what they wrote into her, but somehow she was hot, so guys fell for her. So I'm going to let this one stick for a second. These are probably the four I would choose. Right, these two, and then these two. Kelly Bundy, I get she's hot, but she's also like she was written as a Bundy and maybe a little bit slutty.
She was dumb as hell. Yeah. Dumb slut. Yeah. No.
Yeah. So I would probably, for the sake of STD treatment, not do that. Denise. So she was also too hippie-ish. She was the oldest daughter of the Cosby Show, and she was a super hippie. And I mean, just like always rejected any kind of like good advice. I mean, I don't know. She was annoying to me, and she was annoying in real life too. By the way, she was like that in real life. She like wouldn't show up to a lot of their filmings on time. She was just like,
nice.
She was kind of an asshole. DJ Tanner, I don't remember her well enough. So, and she's not hot enough for me to give a fuck. So that's why I counted her out. Lisa.
Really? That's wild. I was looking at it. I was thinking she was like one of the most attractive ones on there. Here we are again. Picture. We could walk into a bar. Yeah. We could walk into a bar and have no problem.
She's not bad. I'm not saying she's ugly. Anyway.
I think she's absolutely stunning. I physically, like visually, I think she's the best option on there.
Okay, cool. I like it. That's good.
Which
good. She is yours. Watch, I'm cutting her out and giving her to you right here, and then boom.
No, I don't know her. I don't know. I don't want her. I don't know her.
Nope,
I don't want her. I don't
on her knees underneath your desk as we speak. Lisa's attractive, but I remember her being like super vapid into money. Like she was rich and acted like a spoiled rich kid, and I remember she always just like had that vibe to it, right? Like just the worst elements of what we think of like wealthy people being. That was her shtick. So she gets tossed because I don't want to deal with obnoxiousness, right? So then we get into these. Oh, go ahead. Give me your feedback.
I remember Boy Meets World, and then Ashley's the sister of
Will Smith,
and Carlson.
Yeah, Carlson. Yes.
I don't remember.
Does
I
that name
don't
show?
remember what show Kelly's from, but I can picture
Saved by the
clear
Bell.
as day.
Saved by the Bell.
Saved by the Bell. Okay.
So
okay,
Zach,
okay. I think
Zach
she would be
Slater.
an easy one, too.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
she
yeah.
actually she's probably the one I would use, but that was right in my.
Yeah.
Literally, I'm the same age as Zach from Saved by the Bell. Like our actual humans,
okay.
I'm the same age. So that's why she is. I really like Ashley because she was intelligent. She came from a good home. Her parents like wanted her to be like rational and be learned. Like they gave her some freedom, but she was like, they actually taught valuable life lessons. She was a very upstanding. You know, the dad was a judge, and it was a good like social family. So she also like,
Except for Will Smith.
well, yeah, but he was learning to be that. I guess you know he was
Yeah.
he was learning valuable lessons from that. Kimberly is the Pink Ranger from Power Rangers.
Okay. I thought so
Right.
because of the overalls and the color, and that was the only reason.
I mean, I would
have-
ask her out. I'd never watched Power Rangers that much, but I know she was kind of like she was a decent character, you know, and she's moderately attractive. So, okay, I don't. Let's put it this way: I have nothing against her, so I would still. Okay, sure, fine. This one, I have no idea who this bitch is, but she's attractive,
idea.
and so I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt. that's what.
Okay.
So that's why she gets into
Fair
the
enough.
mix. And that is
I
my
know.
reasoning. But it's,
Good enough for me.
so Placebo gets DJ. Evil gets
So
Kelly.
we need to pause. We need to pause
Yeah.
because I'm learning that when Full House ended, DJ Tanner was 18 years old. So I don't feel comfortable with this
Oh,
anymore.
really? I had no idea.
Yeah. So this is like, I mean, she's like 16 or 17
Well,
probably.
yeah, I
in
guess
this.
you're
I
asking
don't
her
like
to the
this
prom.
anymore.
So we're not asking her now. We are high school students.
Yeah, but then you made the joke about her being under my fucking
Oh yeah, okay, you're right.
desk
You're right.
now.
Well, that was the her now. Now she is. Her character was. She's older than me. She's older than me now.
I know a couple of them, I think, because I've seen a few episodes of Full House, not a lot, but a few. And you
Okay.
said Ashley was from something with Will Smith in it?
Yes,
What
the
was
Fresh
it?
Prince of Bel-Air. Yes.
Fresh Prince.
So
of Bel-Air,
I've of
yeah.
course seen that. Was she the older sister that was like crazy?
No, she's the younger one.
What? So who was? I'm thinking there was like one sister.
There
who
was
just
a
super
crazy
dumb.
like rich bratty woman. that
Yeah,
was the
yeah,
older
yeah,
sister.
yeah.
And she was kind of
But
dumb
that's
too.
not her.
She was
She's
like
the
a mix.
younger one.
The older sister was a mixture of Kelly Bundy and Lisa. Is exactly who
Okay.
the older sister was. It was
Oh
these
my
two put
God.
together.
Yeah. That's.
I can't remember her character, but the way you describe her, I'm interested. You know.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh
Are
yeah.
you
She
old
would
enough-
she would talk down to you so good.
I do.
She would
Okay.
criticize you so good. Oh,
Yeah, but like, would she be right about her criticisms? Because
that's true.
if she's just criticizing, I'm not.
You're not into it. You
if
want her to
she's
be
right
right about
about
it.
her
Okay.
criticisms. Then
I
I'm
mean,
into it.
if you want, I can just say that that's what she does because we don't know anything about her.
Yeah, sure. Why, but I don't really love whatever that is, though.
Okay.
So you know.
I mean,
Okay. What's Lisa from? Because I'm just drawing a blank.
Lisa, Saved by the Bell. She's also Saved by the Bell. It was her,
Okay.
Kelly, and then the chick that did the stripper dance. And then she did this. Gosh, she's really famous in Saved by the Bell. That they did. They tried to do it like a drugs episode, but they didn't want to do actual drugs, so she got on caffeine, and she took too much caffeine and broke down. And oh my God, what is? She was really famous, and then she did the stripper movie, and it basically destroyed her career. It was a big movie that got released. That was like it was like
Magic Mike.
no, gosh, what was I mean, hold on. I'll type it in. Actress who was in Saved by the Bell and did the stripper movie. Elizabeth Berkley. And what that was her name. That wasn't her screen name. That was her actual name. Let me see.
Yeah.
Name is Jessie. I just don't.
Jessie. Okay,
Jessie
thank you.
Spano.
Yeah, Jessie. There we go. The screen went blank, and I was glad for it because I was typing in something about a stripper movie, and I was like, probably safe that is not what's being recorded, just in case something pops up. Okay, so yes, that was the third
she
one.
was. much more attractive back then.
Yes. Well, she was. So, by the way, she was like, I think 21, 22 when almost every member of Saved by the Bell was already, I think all of them except for maybe Screech were adults. When they shot it, they were just playing high school kids, but they were all like in their 20s.
Yeah.
Okay, let me do this again. All right. That was fun.
I think I just loved Married with Children in general. Like, I just loved
Yeah, it
that
was.
show,
It was a good
so
show. It was a good show.
I gravitated towards that one.
Let's see. Do I want? Oh, that's funny. Okay. Which way do I want to go? How stupid this bullshit is, or how stupid doctors can be now? Only because this has like personal story I can tell. Whereas, let's talk about this. Actually, I do think talking about medical system a little bit would be fun. So this guy wrote, "I'm still in shock that a random anonymous on crypto Twitter fixed my debilitating pinched nerve pain with a single casual tweet after I spent 6 months going in circles with doctors and specialists. What the fuck is wrong with our medical system?" As someone who has just recently went to the doctor for a fairly debilitating digestive problem and was told to eat more fiber, and on days that I have diarrhea, take Imodium, and then on days that I'm clogged up, take a laxative, and that was their big solution for 20 years of highly debilitating digestive issues, I kind of am in the like, yeah, no, I can,
Yeah.
And then also, so I've went to actual like male health doctors who specialize in it, and I know how testosterone works very well, and how, like once a week or even twice a week with certain ones. And she was like, "Oh, when I do it once a month. You take a shot once a month. I know that is the least effective and has the most side effects. If you're taking testosterone, that's the worst way to do it, physically." So it was just I find it frustrating that the way you almost have to get through all the trash ones and you just have to keep trying and spending money until you get to one who actually knows kind of what they're talking about and can actually help you. It's crazy that you could actually get some anonymous person on Twitter give you on a non-medical related subject could in fact give you sometimes like, "Oh, my doctor suggested this, and it will work better than 6 months of just dumping thousands of dollars into the medical system trying to get someone to help make you not be miserable." I think that's interesting.
I think we've sort of talked about this, but like adaptability and recognizing novel situations and being able to do things in those novel situations is a skill. And I don't know how much it's actually developed, because like there is so much book work and school work and just like know this disease, know this drug, know this thing, know that thing, that I mean I see it all, that when the doctors get in there, all they know how to do is that book work, right? Like they don't know how to accept, when I enter into this room with this patient, it is a novel situation. I am having to adapt based on what is in front of me. It is different from the other thing. They just go, "Oh, data point 1, 2, 3, 4, best possible solution. Okay, that, and okay, this is what you have.
Yeah.
This is what you have. This is what you're being treated
And if that doesn't work, we'll go to the next thing on my data point list."
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of like being able to actually look at you and do things with you to ascertain what the problem is, it's book work again, because that's what they know how to do very often. People always say when they find the one doctor that really is able to be communicative, and like that is the part that sticks out to them. Like the doctor actually, it feels like he's looking at me as a person and is invested in me, and that's rare, because a lot of fucking super book heavy, nerds become doctors.
Yeah, no, I think that's spot on. I agree. You have a little smile on your face. You got anything to say there, Evil, or are you just happy?
No, I'm just happy.
Okay, well, the happy Evil is a happy creature.
He's thinking about Miss Bundy down there.
She's dancing for you.
She dances every night for me.
Yeah, I'm sure she does. This podcast, let's go. I think actually the funny thing is she was in college for most of that, so it's perfectly fine for you to say these things. Wait for the okay. I love so this is a very getting on to people saying the most and fully believing the most random bullshit that someone or some single PhD at some point in time threw out there so they could get a book published. Wait for the forbidden fruit. Wait, the forbidden fruit was a metaphor for sex? And it was like, the reason it was under delusional take is because this is a delusional take. But I just find that this is a consistent, you see people like genuinely believe Sinex Doche as a source of information. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
so reliable.
Yeah. They took a quote out of context. The fruit was never an apple, which I think was actually true, right? Like it was never said, the Bible even never said it was an apple. It was just a fruit that was the source of knowledge, good of evil, right? It was never, I don't know how he ever did that. And they turned that, they included that with a picture of someone giving fellatio to make a point that this person like took as gospel. And that's mind-boggling to me that that's how people's like they vote. They they're at the DMV making decisions about how my license gets done. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like they are functioning members of society, and this is the level of like intellect they are working with. It just
this is how things went viral 5 or 6 years ago, right? That's all it took. This is how things went viral. This is how fame was attained, right? Yeah. The brain is programmed based on what is around it, whether you know it or not, right? And that's, here we are. So, I mean, the lamentations are upon me at this moment.
Now we're back into our comfort zone. Lamentations.
Yes. I don't know, man. I just want people to be smarter.
All right. I listen, you're preaching to the choir with that one. Okay. Let's pause that because it's trying to run. I don't want it to run off. So Joe Rogan pointed out that the Kids Wish Network raised $127 million. It paid to solicitors $109 million of that. Spent percentage on direct cash. Basically, the final conclusion is the aid that they actually spent on kids was only 2.5% of what they raised. And then this is where I get issues with the Cancer Fund, right? The Cancer Fund of America did even worse, and less than 1% of the money they raised actually went to research and funding of cancer treatment and research to how to solve cancer. I have talked about this a couple of times because of my nature with a semi, like, I would say a charitable institute. It's there's two sides to it, and technically, like legally, it's not. But that's everything they're doing is to help veterans, right? Like that is the intent of it. I feel like so many organizations, this is what they are. They are almost money laundering. Now, I don't know if this is 100% accurate.
Right. I mean, we're trusting Darth Powell here.
Yeah,
we just as the last one.
Well, yeah, he was. I'm hoping that his screenshot is accurate, and it really was the Doge
and he's right
news and everything. So yes, I will say take this with, but I do know that this is a similar. Like there have been other reports that match this. Okay, like I have actually read the reports. There are some. There was one huge one, in the last decade that got exposed for doing the same thing. Hello, Kens. Welcome to the podcast. Can you give us 10 more minutes? We're almost done.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. We love you. Just 10 more minutes and we'll be done. So I do wonder about. I don't know. Like I feel like if you're going to give the charity, you have to do research, right? You can't just trust the charitable mission statement. You know what I'm saying? You can't trust what they say they are spending it on. You have to look and see. Now, I will say there's another element. There's two sides of this. There's somebody who commented on them. This is kind of what drove me to use this. Is this someone else posted underneath it, like as if they said, well, charities should have 100%, 100% of the money they raise should go to the cause or whatever. I was like, but they were saying like nobody in administration, nobody who does anything should get paid anything. And I'm like, that's not realistic either. Because if you're wanting people to do large scale, well, we're talking like large scale, hundreds of millions, they're going to have to be people who work full time. You can't expect people to work full time for nothing, right? Like, I get they shouldn't get like top end CEO Berkshire Hathaway investment banker money, but you also should like pay them to some degree a worthy salary to spend their life do it. Like, they have to do it. You can't just be like, I need you to do everything for zero. I think there's a balance there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
some money does need to go to pay for the function of making a organization that can have a massive reach, but some of it more of it needs to go to actual impact rather than paying, lobbyists and stuff, whatever. So I don't know. What are your guys' take on that? I gave mine.
I think people should be better stewards with the money anyways. It's on them, on who they donate to. I don't care what a group or organization says that they're going to do with their money. I need to know for sure that is going to be what they do with it. And if these guys didn't actually put any money into it, it's none of their business. And for the people who did put money into it, it's their fault or not fault for contributing to that.
Interesting. Okay. I will say this as well. All actual charitable organizations have to publish their finances publicly. So you can find how an organization spends their money. It's not a hidden. That's part of being a charitable organization. Is they do at least have, there's obviously accounting tricks, right? Like, people can hide things under certain settings and whatever, but for the most part you can at least get a general sense of how money is being spent. So yeah, I kind of agree. I think there's a little bit of a buyer beware, caveat emptor, and that's what that means. I believe that's what that is.
I don't know.
Okay. Anyway, go ahead, Pacific. You're the
I don't have too much on this. I usually have good wisdom. On this, I'm not too sure I do.
Okay.
I suspect that probably the best thing to do with one's money, if they are going to donate it to charity, is to probably go places themselves and donate the money themselves instead of the charity doing it for them. If we're concerned about the agency of people, I think that I'm perhaps distrusting of others' ability to manage the money that you give them as well as you manage the money that you give them. And so if you care a lot about African villages and that they don't have clean water or access to food, guess what you're doing this summer, buddy? If you really care about that, guess what you're doing this summer? I
think there's a little bit of, just because I think there's an element here that you're on something, but also, like, you could, I hate to make it religious, so it doesn't have to be religious, but you could find a local church that you can actually know the people and kind of have a little bit better, like, knowledge of who the people are and where the money, like, you can talk to them, get to, like, it doesn't space it. I think the more localized it gets, the more you could, let's say, have agency over knowing that your money is, in fact, even if you yourself don't have the time to go to Africa because you're making the money, that you could find a local organization that, you trust them. You've talked to the people, you know where their heart's at, they are willing to actually put the money where their mouth is. And so that, I think there's a little bit of a balance there too. That's usually my suggestion, is like, try as best you can to go to a local place. And you know what I'm saying? Like, Because I understand
sounds
you're one
reasonable.
person. You know, if you only got $1,000, what are you going to do with it? You may need to have another 10 people in an organization combine those 10 people, but try to be as local as possible so you can.
I do often wonder about like all the mission trips that schools and stuff take. Like you're spending so much money on plane tickets and all this
Yep.
other to go and build a house, right? Or something like that. Build a, and it's,
Yeah.
the opportunity cost here, I can't help but wonder about,
Yeah, how much are you doing it for them, and how much are you doing it for your own personal sense of like,
Oh my gosh, I had
helped.
this wonderful
Yeah.
experience. Yeah, like, I did my virtuous thing as a child.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Something else for me is like, hey, why is this person actually following this stuff? Like, if they have to report these numbers out anyways, right? So, what is Darth Powell really mad about? That the money didn't go where it was supposed to, or that it didn't go to him? All right, like,
Yeah.
whenever.
Well, he's a blue check, so he doesn't care about this shit at all. All he really cares about is that his name gets a bit more famous. He
Well, I mean,
wants
Exactly.
the attention.
Just for
So
the record.
are you really? You got to fix that, brother. We got to have a talk. You got to fix that.
It's the only way to even get any kind of like visual. People, you will not be seen if you don't have the blue check.
Really?
And people don't trust you.
Yeah.
They will think you're a fraud if you don't have the blue. Like, you could be like
isn't
2
that
+ 2
system
= 4.
fucked?
It's horrible, but it is this, like I'm not advocating for this being the case.
Yeah.
But I am also rational about it, and like for now, this is how I have to act within the system. But I do not. I agree. It's horrible that. I know that part of the reason they did this was it got rid of bots, because bots don't want to pay $1, $2, $3 a month for fake bots over and over. That'd be millions of dollars. So it does cut down on bot use. I understand the concept there, but I also agree that it's sad that you have to pay $5 to even have someone be like, you're at least a human who I will respect the voice of. It's tough. We could get talking about that as well. That is a measure of modern communication and modern society. So much of what we do is online that it's been manipulated and so on and so forth.
It's heuristics, man. The brain is naturally the world's greatest shortcut taker, and this is yet another realm in which shortcuts can be taken and are taken because it's what people do, and then we get into a fucked up system because it's natural.
A few people ruined it for
Let's
everybody.
be honest. Before it was still a fucked up system. It's just more visible now because whenever he took over, he announced the changes. So it was a fucked up system before.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a different kind of fucked up, but they were both fucked up.
No, I agree. I mean,
so let's get rid of them. Cool, sounds good.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
They're gone.
Social media out, done with it. Get rid of them all. I kind of society probably I think they'd be better off, but yeah, okay, that's good. I like the ending on a note of getting rid of all social media. I think that is a solid ending point for us. So I will go ahead, especially since Ken dropped in and he needs us as a brother to listen to his sorrows. He sent me messages saying
he had a rough
sad.
night out there.
Yeah, he
had a rough night out there at that concert, watching the elderly ladies drink and dance. he had a rough night, guys. He does need us. We're here for him.
He had to drink his sorrows away while he watched old people dance. So anyway, I appreciate if you've made it this far. Thank you. No, you are.
Hi, Raptor.
Yes, Raptor. Possibly Ken's, maybe sometimes. And the other 9 people that might actually get this far into it. Thank you. You are loved as much as I can love someone I don't know who just consumes my content. I would say you are appreciated. Maybe loved is a bit too strong of a word for someone I don't know. Other than Raptor, I do love you, Raptor.
And Ed Kins.
And Kins. Yes. But But yes, anyway, thank you for watching again. I hope that this week actually was good content. I feel like it was good content. I feel like we touched good stuff. The first half was good. The second half was pretty decent. So
I just hope the video works.
I think from everything I have been seeing,
seeing,
we did it. You know, we checked beforehand. I will say we did the checks that we could do beforehand to make it. And even when we restarted, I visually rechecked to make sure the audio were doing what audio was supposed to do. So I think we're good. All right, let me start the music for everybody's for their outro. Get ready to get hype, get crunk. And then I turn it up. Bye-bye.
Oh, you're so dry, so fast.